You're live.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to the Monday bullpen where we discuss some subjects that help the agents become better agents and become better human beings as well. Every Monday. So good. So let's start with the numbers. Top 20 producers. Number 20. Pustanchi G. That's it?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I don't like it looking at me.
17,506. Wow. One second. What's this? Yes.
Jeffrey Amponasa.
Jeffrey Ampunasa. Yes. 17,755. Congratulations, Jeffrey. Matthew Borch, 18,462. Number 17, Francis Doherty. Frank, with that, man, 19,120. Sean Barnes, 19,807. Number 15, Caleb Amoros, 21,301. Number 14, Christopher Wasserman, 23,895. Number 13, Corey Williams, 23,971. Number 12, David Pyle. And David, good. 24,805. Wayne Core, my brother. Number 11, 24,908. Number 10, the top 10 are Garrett Dewitt, 25,117. Number 9, Orlando Payne, 26,667. Number 8, Gabriel Singh, 27,511. That's number 7, Desmond Ray, 28,865. Number 6, Stephanie Cover, 28,989. Number 5, Daniel Byrne, 30,171. Jesus. Number 4, Cedric Harmon, 30,379. Number 3, Mohammed Rashuni, 35,833. And we already know the number 1 and number 2. Number 2, Jonathan Persina, 39,936. Wow. Number 1, Stephen Giordano, 66,393. Monthly day. Needless to say that they're going to be a Hall of Fame. That just goes without saying. Top agencies are FFL Dynasty, Chimera Thompson, 13,670. Francis Doherty with FFL Shoreline, 39,515. FFL Wisdom, Strength, and Beauty, Carlos Reynoso, 43,866. Jeff Beauty, FFL The Good Life, 51,639. Stephanie Cover, FFL Insured Trust, 49,441. FFL Third Coast, Alex Lebrilla, 53,998. FFL Pay It Forward, Michael Lower, 58,180. Daniel Byrne, FFL Legacy, 64,171. Jonathan Persina, FFL Loyalty, 67,515. Cindy Siddick, FFL Service Before Self, 80,879. Gabriel Singh, FFL The Way, 105,259. My brother, Jose Rex Sirena, congratulations, Jose. FFL Momentum, 110,330. Jesse Parsley, FFL Avenues, 116,584. Mark Tirolia, FFL The Chosen Ones, 146,512. This guy came out of nowhere, man. He's like killing the game. Kyrie Joyner, FFL Humble Beginnings, 151,551. Congratulations, Kyrie. Caleb Amoros, FFL 320, 164,321. David Pyle, FFL Great Lakes, 184,743. Dave, congratulations. Steve Giordano, FFL Health and Wealth, 250,117. Wayne Carr, Wayne, wow. FFL Hidden Gems, 284,494. The top three agencies are Rob Richmond, FFL Apex, 475,341. Brian Mendejo, FFL Central, 532,701. And number one, Ivan Vedrov, FFL Universe, 1,036,611. Give him a round of applause. Wow. So we're going to discuss numbers, and we're also going to discuss today. We have Gabe here. We have Brittany. And we're going to be talking about what a lot of people are worried about when a couple or a person is at an older age, and they have this big mortgage that they want to cover, and everybody either hate those leads or don't want to approach those leads somehow because it scares them. It used to scare me a lot, and I used to either give them away or as soon as I saw them, I was like, oh my God, like these leads right here, it just, it just messed up my day completely. So we're going to talk about how to approach those leads, okay? And we're going to go through the numbers as well. Name is the agent. The appointments is how many appointments they set for that week. How many people they sat down with. How many closes and how many applications. Sometimes the applications can be more than the closes because you could have a multiple people on that home, and then the total is what they issue paid. Okay. So let's start with Kiel. Kiel. There you go, Kiel. So he got 12 appointments, 3 seats, 3 closes, and 4 apps. Perfect example here. Apps for 3,609.36. That was for the week, correct?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Keon?
Yes.
Keon. 8 appointments. 5, 2 closes, and 2 apps for 2,776. Let's go back to the first one. Let's go back to Kill. Here, we've been talking about it. Me and John been talking about it for weeks, months about this. So, and you have the beast there that she can help you out. She's so, you're always in my head. Every time I run appointments and it's late, I always hear you. I'm gonna go, so I always go to my appointment.
So what's the last one?
So yeah. But there's something on the phone that you're not doing, that you're not typing it up right, that this is happening. So there's something that you have to work on your script. Something I do with the mortgage protection that I started doing, and that is working tremendously for me. I get a mortgage protection lead, and I call them and tell them, first of all, I assume that whoever answered the phone is them. So I don't say, can I talk to John? Or is this John? I assume that's them. Even if I'm calling a John and a female answer, I'm just going to play it off like they're John. And then they're going to tell me, no, let me get John for you. Because if you ask for them or whatever the case may be, then you sound like you're trying to sell something. So I tell them, John, and they're going to say yes or whatever. And I said, John, this is Carlos. I'm working together with whatever, so-and-so. Just wanted to let you know that we did receive the form that you filled out and sent to us inquiring about the mortgage protection. I have an opening tomorrow at 9 a.m. to complete the medical questionnaire, and it only takes 10 to 15 minutes. Will you be home at that time? So I let them know that I received the form that they sent to me. And I don't tell them, do you remember doing that? Because then you put in kind of like a powder of doubt, and they can revert back and be like, no, I don't remember doing that. You know what I mean? So you want to give them the minimum, objection that they can give you back. So just assume that whoever answered the phone is them. Put it on them. I received the form that you sent to me, so I'm doing you a service of getting back to you, and now I'm going to service you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I say to complete the medical questionnaire, because I know a lot of people listening. It works for a lot of people, but I don't like when hearing or when people say, I'm going to drop this thing off No, I don't want to be the guy that
Right.
drop anything off.
Right.
We're gonna do something here. We're gonna fill an application out. So like when people say I'm gonna drop something off, like listen, if you want to use it, but I don't like it at all. So, I'm gonna complete a medical questionnaire. Okay? That's one. Grade 18, 13, 9, 9, 15,000. Wow. 18, oh, same numbers.
Yeah,
18, 13, well, not here though. 8, 9,278. Fran D, 14, 6, 5, 3, 9,644. Good job, Frank. Great job. Stephen P, 25, 6, 4, 4, 5,000. Steve, we gotta talk. Let's talk about this a little more, okay? Appointments are there, so the seating should be more than that, way more than that. Andy G, 20, 11, 8, 8 for 10,200. Great, Andy, great job. John, I mean, he needs no introduction. 27,000, 18, 16, 22 for 25,541. I feel like John does it like a wheel, like I'm just gonna write 30,000 this week, and he just does it.
Well, a big part of that is working the weekends.
There you go. We are promoting the weekends.
You do 8, 10, 12 on the weekend.
Mhm.
You don't have to beg for business on Tuesday and Wednesday. You're
You're
much
right.
more relaxed.
Right.
Correct.
And that business just comes naturally because I'm like, I go to my next appointment, like, you don't feel like, you know?
Want to come up and talk about the weekend a little bit, John? So we are promoting the weekends. The weekends, people are home. People are more, welcoming to you. They won't have an excuse that they either have a doctor's appointment, because nobody wants to go to the doctor on a Saturday. I mean, come on, really? If they are working, they might be able to accommodate you later on that day. But the weekends are where heroes are made, man. Like, where the top agents, they run the weekends. That's where, where they make most of the money. Like John mentioned, you don't have to climb that hill then during the week because you're already there. But now, if you didn't run on the weekends, now the second half of the week, man, it's brutal, man, because I don't have anything. The confidence is down. Everything is down. So what you gonna do? You're gonna sound desperate on the phone. They're gonna sense it. You're gonna get more rejections. So it's just bad business overall. If this is your business, you gotta run it like your business. Something that I learned was that a lot of people, including me, I used to do this before. I used to have 4 appointments, 4 for one day, 4 for the other. Oh man, I'm good. No, man, if you used to work at a company and you gave them, X amount of years of your life, and you used to be there at the time that they requested you, this is your business. Why not run it more, like you care more for your business, for you. You put 3 to 4 years here, man, you're home free. Build your agency, you're home free. Aaron G, that's you? Oh, the board, my man. 11, 4, 2, 2, 1,809. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations. And first time writers. David Wee, Jimmy C, Jeanette, Michelle, Barbara, Alfred R, Sandra D, Nancy M, Yuseski C, Anthony A, Juan Z, Veronica C, Wesley M, Lovely B, Sumita M, Christine M, Leon G, Dominic E, Jasmine G, Derek S, Turquisa M, Dante C, Sandra G, Walter C, Goldoni E, Maurice W, Chase P, Suleikas S. Congratulations. Round of applause for them. So I'm gonna talk about the big mortgages and the older people or senior people, and then I'm gonna bring Gabe, and he's gonna talk about traveling and running business. So, like I said, I used to hate those mortgages. Now I love them for some reason. Love them.
Premiums are higher too.
I love them because you know, you guys got to know once you guys see a big mortgage and that you see the age of the person that they are older, don't psych yourself out and think that they want to cover the whole thing. It's how you place it, how you plant the seed. You have to plant the seed as soon as you get to the house. Okay. The question that we always ask, when you filled out this form, why do you do it? What am I doing here? Why do you send out this form? That's the first question that I ask. Thanks to John, I learned that. So once they tell me why I'm there, now I'm going to tell them, listen, just want to tell you that there's 3 types of mortgage protection. I'm going to plant the seed from the beginning. There's the type that covers your whole mortgage. There's the type that covers 8% of your mortgage. And there's the type that protect the equity of your house. Okay? So I'm planting already the seed. So they are like, okay, so they already heard that equity. Okay? So I'm going to go through the questions. I'm going to ask you, okay, so I see that you have here, 200,000 left on the loan. Write it down. And then I asked them, okay, what is the house valued at? And if they don't know, the reason I asked the question, because I can go to Zillow and find out, which I'm going to do as well. But I want them to tell me a higher number than what is in Zillow. So now I can play with that number. I can see, okay, let's say if they have 40,000 in equity, but they told me that they had 80,000, that's what you gave me. I'm going to use that. So, okay, so you have 80,000 in equity, okay, 80,000. So since you have 80,000 in equity, what is the plan for the house? Are you guys going to sell the house? You guys want to keep the house? What's the plan? Remember, you planting seeds. So I'm going to tell them, usually when a significant other dies, people don't want to stay at the house. They want something smaller, and they don't want to sell the house because of memories or whatever. You know what? Yeah, we're probably going to sell the house. It's planting seed as soon as you get there. Planting seed. Once they tell me that, okay. So look, I found a plan for you that instead of covering the whole mortgage, let's cover the bag of money that you have on the basement. What bag of money? Well, just imagine you have a bag of money in the basement, but you pass and nobody ever knew that it was there. Would you rather give it to the government or give it to your wife? I'd rather give it to my wife. Well, that's the equity. That's the equity of the house. So I say it just like that. That's the equity of the house. If we don't give your wife time for her to sell the house or for her to adjust, then that equity is just going to go out the window. Now you lose the house, you lose the equity, you lose everything. She didn't have anything. You know what I mean? So let's protect this. Once you sell them on Living Promise or Eagle, do not tell them. Do not, and I repeat because I used to make this mistake. Do not tell them, listen, we're going to get you approved for 10,000. Do not say that.
Right.
Do not say that. Please don't. Tell them, listen, we got you a plan that's gonna pay a year of the mortgage. They'd be like, you know what? A year sounds good. Don't tell them it's 10,000 or 15 or 20, because remember, in their mind, they want to cover the whole thing. Well, they are covering it if they get a year or 2 or whatever, how many months. If it's less than a year, tell them the month that is going to pay the mortgage for. But listen, I got you a plan that's going to pay for 10 months. That's going to give your wife time to adjust, sell the house, and get that equity, so she won't lose it. So she's going to move to a smaller place, and she's going to have this 80,000 in equity. You stress that. Once they tell you who they're protecting, no longer talk about a policy. That policy now becomes Nancy. That's going to give Nancy time to adjust, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So what they will learn: plant seed from the beginning. tell them the 3 types of mortgage protection. You guys remember the 3 types?
Yeah.
What are the 3 types?
Protects the whole amount, protects a percentage,
Okay,
or
protect the equity
protects the equity.
and protects the equity. You got to plant that seed from the beginning. Older people, the reason I like them now because it's how you present it. They want it, man. They want to protect their significant other. They just don't know how to go about it. And if you don't word it correct, then it's just gonna go south. So that's how we attack. A lot of people don't really want to cover the whole thing because it'll be outrageous. They'll be paying, and most of them don't qualify because of health issues or whatever the case may be. So that's how we attack the big mortgages and the senior people. Okay, I'm gonna bring Gabe now. He's gonna talk about traveling and running business. Okay.
Man, and I got to stand behind these big numbers behind me. Huh?
I was on Carlos.
Oh, okay. And the last thing I'll say, something that was phenomenal. Everything you said was great, and that helped me so much, especially when I was getting started. But an angle that I was neglecting for a long time, and I heard some big writers talk about it, is when you run into someone in 60s and 70s that is still working, and they're bringing in a significant income, and they have a really clear path to retirement. A lot of times showing them, obviously, like you said, you're not focusing on that number, but even showing them that limited payment won't make sense. But if you work out, like ask them what their plan is, like, hey, I'll give you an example. I had a pretty good sale, it was $210 a month this Friday. And I walked in, it was a husband and wife. She was working, she was a teacher, making very good money. She was in her early 60s, probably 10 grand a month. He was already fully retired, making about $7 million. They had a really nice house. They were working on it. They were aggressively paying it off. I asked her, I was like, how much longer are you planning on working? And she told me about 8 years. She's like, and then I'll be able to, and I was like, I imagine then you'll have a full retirement, pension. It'll be a pretty good situation for you guys. She's like, yeah, it's going to be great. And I was like, and you're planning on having this house paid off by then? Because they were putting a lot of money towards the principal. It was a very nice house. They did a lot of work. They're like, we're going to live here for the rest of their life. We're going to be paid off. She's like, yes. I was like, okay. So what our priority is to make sure that over these 8 years, if anything happens, terrible illness, or a life-changing, disability, you get paralyzed, that loss of income isn't destroying your retirement. And so I sold on a product with living benefits coming for about 2 years of her income, several $100,000, $210 a month, made a lot of sense to them. They're like, well, yeah, of course. Right. Why wouldn't we do that? And I told her, I was like, 8 years, this is over. If you feel like you don't need this policy anymore. So I wrote him a 15-year HMS. And I was like, you don't have to keep it long. And I was like, obviously, America's not going to be mad at that. 8 years of premium payments and, they don't have to pay anything out. I'm not going to be mad about it. No one's going to be mad. And they were protected. God forbid anything happened in that time. So if you run into those seniors that are working as well, very powerful, protecting their income. And like you said, those are great clients to sit with because they know they need it. When you're 60, 70, you've had enough of your contemporaries pass away, go through horrible circumstances. Biggest sale I ever had in the house was 10,000 AP, a husband and a wife. And they had just, he was a firefighter and she was a real estate agent. She made very good money. He flipped houses on the side. And he had just experienced a 24-year-old in his firehouse with bone cancer. He had a very strong why. He saw that family get torn apart. And he told his wife, he's like, we need this. We need this. So anyway, all that to say, so to talk about what I'm actually supposed to talk about. So traveling and selling. It's very simple to me. I got down, it's, this business is easy. I mean, you guys see it here. I mean, even this, obviously a lot of times the phones is the hardest part, but like this sit ratio is phenomenal. I mean the sale ratio, 3 sits, 3 sales. So just get this number up, you're going to make more money, whoever this is. So once you get your own numbers worked out, and this is how it is. Obviously, no surprise, the guy that had the most money ran the most appointments. It's so simple. So once I figured out how to consistently run 30 appointments every week, and I had people that were getting started in different parts of the country. Obviously, there's people that are doing really well at this, and they're not doing it this way. But for me, I'm a visual learner. And to watch someone do something was so powerful. And that's also, I feel like personally, the best way I teach. So I was traveling and I am traveling, like I just traveled to South Jersey. I have about 4 agents starting in that area. And I just let them run with me, out days, just follow me, watch me run appointments. And, even on days, like one of those days I didn't have any sales, even on that day.
Did they come with you in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Any resistance from people because of COVID? Because I know they feel funny about bringing one person in, let alone 2 people, 3
Right.
people in. How did that work out for you? Because agents
Right.
want to come with me all the time, and I'm like, nah, it's all right. Just
Well,
chill out.
Right. And you know what? I got started at the height of COVID, and same thing. That's what Ivan Vedorov, my upline, told me. He's like, nah, because we were in Chicago and they were super strict. So I never got to do it. But I actually haven't had any pushback. I do. Like people are and sometimes I'll even forget to tell them why that person is with me. And then I'll realize we're halfway in the appointment. I've never told them why another person is with me. And they're just cool. But I mean, most of the time I'll be like, hey, I'm Gabe. This is Brittany. She's shadowing me today. They're like, oh, okay. And even maybe while I'm wrapping up the appointment, I'll be like, hey guys, John just, he just got his license. They're like, oh, wow, congratulations. Good luck to you, all that stuff. But yeah, so no, I really haven't. But so once I got my numbers right and to go out. So for me, obviously we know the value of an agent writing, like someone successful, not just for them, obviously, which is tremendous. So for like my warm market, my friends, and that's how it started. I was just had my warm market, my buddies, and they were getting started. I wanted them to be good. And so they were kind of like my babies. And so I would go out there, I'd be like, hey, I'll get your first batch of leads, we'll run appointments together, all that stuff. And then I figured out how well that was working. And I was like, hey, whenever I have an agent that I feel like is worth it, like they've gotten their license already, they're motivated, they went to conference, like it's worth it for me to go out there to run with them, because that just empowers them so much. And I think for me, one of the reasons, this is kind of silly to say it sounds silly, but one of the reasons it's so powerful is because I'm just such a normal guy that when they see it, they're inspired. Like, because they're like, well, this dude can't do it. He's not doing anything special. Yeah. Like, surely if this guy can do it, then I can. I mean, I've been with a couple guys. I was a guy, he's coming over from Affleck down in Dallas. Guy makes a $250,000 a year already. And he's at a super low, comp and just residual stuff coming in. And I was like, dude, I know what you're thinking. I was like, you're like, if this kid is writing 15, 20 a week, what are you gonna do? And he laughed, but it was real. He was like, yeah, he's like, if you could do this, like for sure, I'm gonna crush it. And so, but here's the thing, there's no downside in my mind, because the value of that investment of getting a new writer confidently writing on the field, them seeing you, them having that trust, and this like, okay, I watched it happen. Like I had my biggest day down in the field in North Carolina with a guy. It was great. It was with him, but it was 14K in one day. That's my biggest day ever. And that guy watched it and he was just like, dude, he's like I can do that.
So you travel a lot and you run your own business in different states, right? What's the mentality behind that?
Just, going to where the agents are and to getting in front of them and them seeing me do it. So that's the mentality behind it. Right. And then also there being no downside, because look, if I spend $2,000 on leads and I write, even let's say it's bad, let's say $2,000 leads, you're really putting the numbers in your favor. If you're spending that much and I'm running appointments, let's say I only write 5 or 6, so money actually coming in, like between what I'm paying for my hotel and car and everything, like I'm not breaking even, but it feels like that a little bit. Like I'm not making a whole lot of money. But even so, if I have 2 or 3 or even one like agent that's going to confidently write, I'm starting my agents off at 100 and I give them a real clear pathway to 110, 120, like then I'm going to make that money back just in override. And then obviously my game is the volume. Like I'm trying to get these guys up. I'm trying to put money in their pockets. So that's not my object, but those numbers work out. Like I would be willing to lose money doing it, but I haven't yet.
So my name's Aaron. So when you're traveling and you're spending $2,000, you're just going into the CRM and just picking up whatever's available.
CRM, I also have, so there's a lot of vendors that will do second chance mortgage leads, like if you call them. And so I have like 3 or 4 that like I'll call and I'll kind of see what's available. down there, try to get a read on how recent they are. You know, sometimes people will tell you, sometimes they won't. But yeah, so I'm just second chance mortgage is my baby. Like honestly, like I've traveled way out of my way to do that. You know, even when I was just getting started, I remember I'm in Northwest Indiana. That's where I live, right on the edge of Chicago. I would find like a little hub of like 100 or so second chance mortgage leads somewhere else. I'd go travel, drive 4 hours on like the corner between Indiana and Ohio, buy like 130, spent like, I don't know, $6, you know, on some really older mortgage, $600, some really older mortgage leads. Go there, buy a hotel, my gas money, and write 6 or 7K, you know, off those. And so if my expenses were 800-900, you know, I wrote 6 or 7, you know, drive time, like those numbers work for me.
So you travel for 2 reasons. One is to run business on yourself, and the second one is to train your agents as well.
Yeah, I'm taking care of my numbers all the time,
Gotcha.
for sure, just to make sure that my business is going, I'm running money, I can keep investing in the business. But then I feel like there's such a strong pro because I can do that with an agent witnessing. And for me, I think when I started, I wasn't sure if that was going to be a liability, but having 2 people in the house, as far as from the sales aspect, is strong. It's strong because like it's almost like you're teaming up on them, but not in like a high pressure, like they feel bullied kind of way. It's just because like, oh, this guy's training somebody, he must kind of be like a big deal, like a little bit, you know. And then it's just like, and that guy's watching you. It's just, I think because they see someone else watching you so attentively, it kind of push pressure on them to pay more. So it's really worked for me. Like I said, my biggest day in the field was with the guy watching me in every appointment.
For those agents that want to travel, but they feel, I don't know, maybe scared of traveling or running business somewhere else where they feel comfortable, what can you tell them?
I mean, just like anything, I mean, you could definitely be faced with your fears, like whatever your fear is, like someone asking you like, do you live here? You know, something like that. And so I'll get those answers sometimes. Like, I'll be like, oh no, like I'm a trainer. Okay. And so I'm traveling. I'll tell them I've only been in this area for a little bit. So I'll tell them that, like, oh, I'm new to the area and stuff like that. And obviously when I show people my licenses, you know, which is something I used to do at every house. I'm not doing it every house now. But it was when I was beginning. I'll show them my driver's license, like, yeah, my resident license is Indiana, and here's my non-resident license for Florida, where I am. So you can confirm all the info on both things. Correct. And so, like, you can take a picture for your record. So that, in no instance, that has been brought up several times, and it did make me nervous, but it never ruined a sale for me. I think when they saw how confident I was, it was okay.
Right. So you said you've been here for less than a year?
Yeah, about a year.
So can you talk to us about like the worst experience you had traveling and how you dealt with that? Whether or not you had a blank or you just didn't recoup what you thought you were?
Sure. I would say, to be honest, and this is probably going to feed into some fears a little bit, but to be honest, I feel like for a lot of places, and not everywhere, but for a lot of places, my first travel trip to that place was a little rocky. Like my first initial trip, like for instance, North Carolina, my first time there, I was sitting with a different kind of client than I was used to, and that hurt me a little bit. And then I didn't break even. I made money, but it wasn't much. But then the next time I came back, I had that cut that 10,000 on one house. That was in North Carolina, and then and I've done well every time since I've been there. But I mean, not everywhere. Dallas, first time I went to Dallas, I dropped like 2K on second chance leads, and I wrote 30 over 2 weeks. So, you can definitely. I think the attitude I've had, and not telling everyone to think this way, but it works for me. I just kind of have that attitude, like I know I can do it, and kind of no matter what. Like I might run into some stuff, but it's like it's whatever. Like I'm just gonna like go over it until I get where I'm going. Like that's always kind of been my mentality. And when I fail in an area, like it kind of, like I'm a really competitive person, and it makes me want to go out of my way to go back and do well. Just so like it's not in my head that I can't do good in Tampa or whatever. So
you're looking forward to traveling?
Yeah, you know, I would say it's almost become a little addicting now because now I feel weird. I've been doing it so long now, a couple months, that where I'm traveling like a lot. Like, so next week I'll be in Dallas for a week. And after that, I'll be in Ohio for a week. And
Nice.
I'm going to San Diego because I have agents in all those areas. Now it feels weird when I'm home in my own bed. I feel like I'm being lazy. So, but any other questions? Go ahead.
When you're going to certain areas, do you buy a specific like type? I know you mentioned like second chance mortgages. Do you like, let's say North Carolina, for example, when you're there, you buy second chance mortgages. When New Jersey, you just buy instant life fleet to like mix it up. Like, what exactly?
So for me, like, I wish, like, I'm such a creature of habit, and this is definitely a weakness of mine, is I kind of find something I like and I don't like letting go. So I think because I had such good initial success on the second chance that I feel like a little stuck on that. So, but I mean, instant internet, like, obviously are great. Like, I just talked to a friend of mine out in what was it? It was Arizona, and she had like a 24,000 AP off it was a business owner who like wanted $1 million policy. And she's like, this is going to be outrageous. Like a mortgage payment. He's like, yeah, that's fine. She's like, this is coming out tomorrow. He's like, yeah, that's fine.
Question. So when you travel, right, do you start making calls there or you set yourself up before you go to the place?
It depends what my schedule is
Okay.
and when I'm going to be running. Obviously, if like I was flying out Monday night to somewhere and I was going to run Tuesday, I would call, there. But so it kind of depends. Like now, I'm not going to be running until like I'm traveling tomorrow, and then I'm training some offense admins on Wednesday, and so I'm not going to be running. So I'm not calling today.
Gotcha.
And so, it depends whatever that schedule is about. Always, I'm just trying to focus on that number, those 30 appointments.
Gotcha.
So I'm pretty Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and then normally I go to church on Sundays. So that's not a day I run a lot. Some days I'll run some in the afternoon, depending on how close. But I just am religious about that Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 8 appointments a day,
Nice.
as much as possible. And if I'm not, like Jersey, like I was having trouble setting appointments, so I just put in Road Warrior. And I don't say trouble setting appointments, just trouble getting that full 8. So I would have like a gap of like 2 hours, and I was road warring door knocks.
Nice.
And so I was like, I'm not going to be sitting in my car.
Nice.
I remember seeing Steve Giordano. Like one day I was sitting in my car between appointments, and Steve Giordano put something like, "Oh, having a gap in appointment when did a door knock at 1200 AP," and I was like, "Oh, I'm a loser." That's what a winner looks like. So let me copy that. So I'm just trying to not get any, but as much as possible, 30 appointments.
Good. And if you don't get those 30s, then you set up for door knocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, I know Brett's the same way, but 18 and 15, when you can't get it, sometimes it still works out, but the level of effort just to push and get it seems to always pay out. Like I'm not happy with less.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and I mean, for people like these numbers, like I don't know who this is right here. Like obviously there's just like a issue here a little bit, it's inequality. But I mean, if you just keep doing this, I promise you, just out of sheer frustration, this eventually is going to work itself out. Like you're eventually just going to get sick of getting no-showed, and you're going to figure out how to get better on the phone. But you just got to keep that. Let me push. I got to get 30. Because even a blind dog finds a bone every once in a while. So, any other questions?
No, other people here.
What lead vendors do you use for second chance mortgage?
Dude, man, I have like an admin now who it sounds so lazy, but takes care of some of that for me. But there are several, and I'll get that list to you. And I'm really not trying to put it off. I'm really just not thinking I'm that airheaded. But I mean, like the CRM obviously is huge, for second chance leads that you can get from there. But then there's several, like, where is it? I'm really trying to think of it right now.
Come on, Gabe, share your secret.
No, I know it's really not like I promise you're gonna say it and you're like it's gonna be one you've already heard of before. It's I honestly can't think of it right now, but there's several. There's several where you and some of them they're not like, obviously the ones off the CRM are nice for the ones in Creed because I've been sold to a FFL agent before. The ones I get aren't always like that. Like they might sell them every 2 years or something like that, or every 6 months. And so you just got to get a fresh crack at them. Like I ran into several of John's clients, when I was here, and he's like, "Oh, John already gave him something great, so I can't give him anything." But yeah. And anyways. All right,
I
guys.
wanna hear your thoughts.
My phone script, dude, you're not going to be impressed. It's super it's literally like this is it right here. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, John.
Yes, John.
Hey, John, this is Gabe. I'm giving you a call because you filled out a form for mortgage protection, and I'm the underwriter assigned to you. I just need to get out to you and take like 10, 15 minutes, go over your options with you. I have you here at 123 Sesame Street. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, okay, cool. And then are you working at this time or you're retired? Retired? Okay, great. So I'm going to be out in your area tomorrow all day. I have between 12 and 1 available. Is there any reason I wouldn't be able to catch you and your spouse home together at that time?
No, we should be home. I think we have this already.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, just in our files, it's just that it's uncompleted. So if you got it already, I'll just go check you off. But a lot of times, we're doing just a little bit of updating for people. But if you're good to go, we'll figure it out real quick. So 12 to 1 would be good. I drive a white Honda. Can I park in front of your house or in the driveway?
In the park.
Okay. And then is your address visible on the mailbox or on the house or?
On the house.
Okay, gotcha. Let me know when you have a pen. I'm going to give you my name and confirmation number.
Ready.
All right. My name's Gabe Erickson, JU176. And what was that time I'm going to be there tomorrow? Is between 12 and 1. And then I just do a bunch of times. I'm like, all right, John, see you tomorrow. Like it's super, so like I'm not trying to do any like selling on the phone. If they ask me any other questions, like I'm just going to answer it real quick and just get to then just get back to me need to be out there. Like I'm not going to impress you like in the least. I'm super simple. I have no issue getting to the door and having to work for the appointment. Like I tell my agents that like some of my biggest sales have been from that, like that 10,000 AP in one house I told you about. They probably had me at the door, like inside she was at her desk. He was just kind of leaning up against the door for like 10 minutes, like asking me questions about it, yada, yada. She was like, hey, do you think we need this? And I was just chill, answering their questions. By the time we got to the table, it wasn't if they were buying, it was how much, because they had already decided that they wanted it. So it's way better to let them see your face, get there. I just want to make sure that they're home, especially for the second chance. Fresh is a little bit different, but not really, because obviously there's a reason that they wanted it. But the second chance, they're older, they might be 100% clear. I want to show them the form, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, what was this about? Like, oh yeah, you sent this form to us. Well, did you fill this out? Or did your wife? And they'll be like, oh, that was me. I was like, okay, yeah, it's just unresolved in our files. I'm just here to make sure the information got it to you. Shoes on or off. So I'm super and I tell all my agents, like, don't be intimidated that you get there and they're not like, oh yeah, come in, this is great. Like some people are going to be like that. Those are phenomenal. They're like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for you. They're happy to see you. You want some coffee, you want some water, all that stuff. But I'm not the least bit intimidated when I get there and they're not opening up and they're a little questioning. I'm very chill. I'm answering their questions. And I want them to understand that this is something that they need. And I have no issue. The great thing about our job, when I was selling insurance at my last company, I only had one product. It was a fully underwritten whole life product. And I was constantly trying to jam a square peg into a round hole, right? Because that's not the right product for most people. Like here, we have so many options and we're working leads. So they requested it, so there's a reason. They know they need something. So I have I feel like I'm in so few situations where I myself am like, hey, you guys don't really need anything, that I'm not intimidated by going through their situation and really finding out how this makes sense.
What are some of the questions that you ask to find their why?
So I actually don't. I know, I've heard John and other people talk about it, and obviously better than me, so probably do what they do. But they're really why did you fill this out? I really figure out what their situation is, Like I'll ask them all the financial inventory questions, plans for how long they're working, what they're gonna do with that house, if they're planning on staying there long-term, or if they're planning on selling it in the near future, if they're planning on making it a rental. And from there, I'll ask them questions. So like I did with that lady, I was like, so you are planning on aggressively paying off this house in 8 years, and then you're gonna have a good retirement set up and you're gonna be good. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong. She's like, yeah. She's like, we'll be in a really good spot then. I was like, so what we really need to do is protect you in this time. And then another situation, you might be with Bob and Mary. He might have $8,000 of benefits coming in, half of it from VA, half of it Social Security, and then some from a state pension. She's not going to get anything from those VA benefits. You know, she might be able to opt for the widow's program, but she doesn't know how much that's going to be. She's going to get half from Social Security, and because of if it's a state pension, if they opted for the full amount, she's not going to get anything. So and her income all by herself is like $800. So they went from almost $9,000 of income a month to $2,000, and they have a $2,000 mortgage. I'll be like, Bob and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, when you pass away, Mary is not going to be able to afford to live in this house. Is that correct? And then finding out what their plan is. Is she going to sell the house? Does she want to live there? You know, and then positioning the level of coverage. Sometimes those will be me protecting the mortgage for 12 months. Sometimes I'll be stacking because they might, like I had a really big sale in one house, it was like 5,000 AP, because he's like, I really want her to stay in this house. And we have a little bit of money I'm going to leave. And so the plan is, let's try to leave her like $90,000 with all of this, a little bit of money over here. We're going to pay off the mortgage now. And if I pass away before I want to, then she'll be able to take that money, refinance, get a smaller payment, and we'll be okay there. But it's all me just kind of figuring out really what their plans are and what their situation is. So it's a little more introspective, and then I'm asking them questions, making sure I understand and letting them correct me if it's not. And like I said, sometimes I might walk out of there being like, well, maybe they really don't need this. But more often than not, if you're honest with people about that situation, like I'll say something like this. I had $300 a month and a $170 a month last week that I went into the close like this both times, and they were really strong sales. I said, hey guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but if either one of you died, neither one of you would be out on the street tomorrow. Like, you're in a good financial situation. Like, you guys are okay. You've done well, you've worked hard, and you're okay with where you are. But it would hurt. And it would be not as strong a financial situation. We could make it way stronger doing this. Does that make sense? And for one of them, I was replacing a big term. For the other one, I was putting something in place. In both of those situations, sometimes people will be so grateful that you help them understand. Because here's the thing, filling out these leads, they know they need something, but they don't necessarily know what that answer is. They like, people aren't dumb. They probably understand that they're going to be in a rough financial situation. So when you can work that out and help them understand both, and they're like, even in one case, I kind of was like a loose sale. I actually kind of talk her out of it. I was like, this is going to be a little more than what you're paying for this term. About $30. It's going to be for a much smaller amount because you're getting it so much older. She's like, but I know that this is going to end and the money's going to be gone. She's like, he's going to outlive this. Like, I understand it's more we want this. And I kind of let her sell me on it a little bit. And so those are strong sales. So those are the questions I'm asking, figuring out their situation, and then asking them reaffirming questions, making sure that the way I'm about to position this makes sense to them, that they're agreeing with me about their situation. So those are the questions that I'm asking.
Would you say those questions make it easier to challenge the client?
I would say it makes it less necessary to challenge them because they're agreeing with you about their situation. Like, that you're not hard-nosing. Like me, I'm a very bad rebuttaler. Like, I'm very good at positioning the product, and like the whole strength of my sales process is my positioning. Me being like, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, you need this. Does this make sense? Asking them questions about the coverage, making sure they understand, and then just go with my close is just, all right, I need you to grab your license and I'll go check. And I just stare at them or I just start filling it out. You know, like, because at that point, like, if you're trying to rebuttal at that point, like, that means that like, it doesn't make sense, it's too much, or like they just don't understand a lot of times.
All right, one more question. So I had a lady tell me, she said, I'm gonna take out a loan to like renovate her home.
Okay.
So she said she doesn't know how much the loan would be, so she doesn't wanna take out something that may be like out of her budget.
Sure.
Like, what would you say?
I would say to her, I was like, I would kind of reaffirm what she's going to do with that house. Like, this is what I would ask. I was like, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this house means a lot to you because you're about to take out more debt to make it nicer. So you don't have any plans on this house not being in your family. Is that right? And she was like, yeah, of course. I was like, so would it not make very good sense to make sure before you put even more money in this house, to make sure that the money you've already put in and what you're about to do is protected for your family? Like, that's an essential, right? And I would just let her answer, you know. So that's how I would do it. Just feeling out their situation is a little just common sense, Adam, you know.
You kill it with logic.
Yeah, that was good.
100%. But all right. Good.
Thank you. That was great, man. That was great, Gabe. I'm gonna bring John Marcella. I'm gonna touch on a little bit of training. Come on, John.
It's not really training, it's just that something came up in the office this morning, which comes up every day. And my man Aaron came across it this morning. We often get asked the question, do you work for the bank? Like when you're doing mortgage leads, do you work for the bank? When I get into the home, I pretty much put a killing on that automatically. But if that ever comes up on the phone, do not go back and forth. Do not just get in and out of there real quick, because the longer you stay on the phone, the less chances you have. I don't like mentioning Family First Life when it comes to mortgage, because God forbid they ever like Google search it. It's just one reason more for them not to be home. So the way I attack that when that does come up over the phone, hey, do you work for the mortgage? Like my mortgage intro is, hey, Gabe. Hey, this is John Mazzella from the Mortgage Benefit Center. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thank you for asking. Hey, I'm just giving you a call in regards to this information you sent back to your mortgage company, ABC Corporation. I see you were looking for mortgage insurance against your loan of $200,000.
Yeah.
Great. Once again, my name is John. I'm the case manager here. I just want to verify some information real quick. I have your address at 1313 Mockingbird Lane, Hazlet, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. I have your date of birth as 7/10/69.
Correct.
Great. I don't have a co-borrower or a spouse down. Are you married or happy?
I'm happy.
Okay, great. And I have the mortgage amount is $200,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. Once again, my name is John Mazzella Gabe. I'm a field underwriter for the state of New Jersey. My job is pretty simple, just to get this information up nonchalantly.
Mm-hmm.
My job is simple. It's just to get this information out so you see what you qualify for based on some medical questions, give you an idea on how much it would be, answer any questions that you may have. I'm looking at my schedule over the next couple of days. So as far as the appointment, we all know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Questions that may come up. All right, yeah, we sent this over to ABC. Do you work for ABC? Actually, no, I'm a field underwriter for the state of New Jersey. The way that process works is when you send that information to ABC, they send it over to us, and then my manager hands it down based on geographical location of the agent, which I'll explain to you tomorrow, when I get there. So yeah, I'm looking at my calendar. I got a 5 available. I have a 7:30. Which one works best for you? So just get in and out of there real quick, and you got to be sharp. Just, but yes, I get that question a lot. And then when I get into the house, I have my driver's license, I have my banking license, and I tell them, how many of these cards did you get in the mail? Oh, we got like 8 of them. I just bought a house. I got 11 so far. Yeah, we got 5 of them. How many did you send back? I only sent back 1. All right, great. You can throw the rest out. Oh, I sent back 3. I sent back 4. Well, why did you send back so many? Well, they keep sending them, so I keep filling them out. Okay, great. just the way the process works is when you send your information, and then when they say that they got so many in the mail, I just put the blame on the bank. Like I'll just say, yeah, those relentless, and I'll use the B word. Banks are so relentless. That's their way of saying, hey, you need to protect this loan in the event that you pass away. This loan is not outstanding. To give them a little in the back of their head, like they got to do this. But I'm not technically saying they have to do it.
Right.
But yes, when that comes up outside the phone, that's how I've been handling it, and it works. And then when I get in the house, I can tell them the process. You send your information to the bank, they send it over to us. And then there's a couple of times where I come across, well, ABC doesn't own it anymore. I'm like, yeah, I know, with mergers and acquisitions going on, it happens all the time, but I'm here for you. And I just blow it right over, and they understand it. So I just wanted to touch on that because that was a concern that we had.
Perfect.
Anybody else?
Questions?
You want to close this out, Carlos?
Yeah. Question for John? Question. Thank you. Well, in closing, just have one thing that I was having a conversation with one of my agents. I believe it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. You gotta believe in what you're doing. You gotta believe in the products that you are offering to the people. Oh, absolutely. When I was touching on before about the big mortgages and the senior people, I was completely negative. I just didn't believe it, and I had a conversation with Mark, and Mark told me about the bag of money in the basement, and I just said, this is another sales technique that he's using to get me to sell. So I was very negative. Then I talked to Benina, and she gave me some pointers, and I was like, well, Mark's saying this thing, Benina's saying kind of the same thing, and I'm talking to John, and he's telling me the same thing. That must be some truth to it, right? So now, like this year forward, man, I'm like just soaking all the training and everything, and every product that I offer, I really believe in my heart and mind that that's the best product for that person and that family. Like you really got to you really got to drink the Kool-Aid in this business. Like you got to really believe it. You have to be all in. If you like 1% out, it's not going to work. It's just a matter of time till that 1% takes over the whole 99 and you become negative. You have to be 100% committed and believe in the system, believe in the product. You believe in use the system, you go places. That's it. Any questions before we close? Question. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday, okay?
Carlos.
John, did you figure out how to